How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Samach Vav, Daf 66 of Masechta Nazir. Friends. Okay, so let me tell you about Daf 66. It's cool because it's the last Daf of Masechta Nazir, so that's cool. Friends, the first Amud is schwer. The first Amud is shtickle schwer. Alright, but then we finish up Masechta Nazir, which is pretty cool. Alright, Samachim Beis. I'm still on my diet. I'm hoping that I'm going to get used to this new diet. But in the meantime, my brain is like, yo, I'm not working. Okay, B'Shiva Dorachim Bodkin Hazov. So we're going to start in Daf Samachim with Beis, like 15 lines from the bottom of the Gemara. Says the Mishnah, at the Mishnah. Okay, B'Shiva Dorachim Bodkin Hazov. There are 7 ways that we check a Zav. I think like to see if he's like actually a Zav. And this is prior to him actually being declared a Zav. With his eating and with his drinking, with how he carries stuff, jumping and being sick. And I don't know, looking and thought, dude, I don't know what this means. Now once he's already a Zav, so that's only prior to being a Zav. Once he's already a Zav, so in Bodkin also, so then we don't check him in these ways. Also, if he has some kind of ones, I don't know, something happens randomly, or if we're not sure about his Zav status, or if he or his semen, Tmeim. All these things are, we have to be concerned that these are Ziva stuff. Shuraglaim Ladavar, because he's already a Zav, and now he's seeing like Zav kind of stuff, so we have to be stringent here. Once already he's a Zav. If a fellow hits his friend, and he hit him so bad that they assumed that the friend was going to die, but then his condition stabilized. But then things went downhill and he died. Chayiv. So Tanakama says that Chayiv. So if Reuven hits Shimon so badly that the assumption is that Shimon was going to die, was not going to make it, but then Shimon has a rally, but then things go downhill and Shimon dies. So the Tanakama says that Reuven is Chayiv for that. Reb Nechemia Omer, Pater Shuraglaim Ladavar. Whereas Reb Nechemia says no, he's Pater. Reuven would be Pater, but that once already the fellow has a rally and things are getting better, so then already we at least have to, at the very least, have to suspect that he died from something else and not from the initial beating, because it seemed like he was getting better from the beating, and something else must have killed him, according to Reb Nechemia. Says the Gemara, Mina Hane Mili. So how do we know that prior to the fellow being a Zav, so then we, these suffix things, we have these different ways of checking him and to figure out if he's a Zav or not. But once already he's a Zav, so then already we have to be stringent, and even if we're not sure, we have to be stringent and assume that he's Tameh. So now remember, a Zav, there is, right, once a fellow sees Ziva, which is like, I don't know, some kind of like emission that isn't sperm, it's some other Ziva stuff. So then if he sees his Ziva twice, so he becomes a Zav already. If he sees it 3 times, then he becomes a Zav Gadol. And the difference is that a Zav Gadol has to bring Korbanos after he becomes pure again, whereas the Zav Katan does not. So now, what we're saying is, prior to seeing Ziva twice, so before he's a Zav, so then we have these different ways of checking and we can be lenient. But once already he's a Zav, so then when he sees something again, and we're not sure, does it make him a Zav Gadol? Does it make him a Zav Baal Shalosh Rios? Does it mean that he's now seen Ziva 3 times? Now we have to be more stringent. So now says the Gemara, Minan Emili, how do we know that once already becomes a Zav Katan, once already sees it twice, we have to be stringent? So Reb Nosson says that the pasuk says Va'azav es Zovo, and then it says Lazarchav Lanekeva. So we assume the Re'iyah Shlishis Iskash Linekeva, right? So when it says Va'azav es Zovo, so Va'azav es Zovo is referring to his first 2 seeings of Ziva, and then when it says Lazarchav Lanekeva, we compare the next one, the third one, to a Nekeva. Now a Nekeva, a woman who is not sure if she's tummy with Ziva, or right, if she's a Zava, which means that she sees Dam in between her normal cycle and the 11th, right? It's assumed that Nida Raisa is 7 days, and then there's 11 days after that. So if she sees Dam for 3 days, well, 3 times, I think 3 times within 2 days, or in 3 days, or 3 consecutive days, I think. So then she becomes a Zava. So then we're more stringent. So we say that once already gets up to the 3rd spotting of Ziva, we have to be stringent, just like with a woman. So Vazava Zova, there is Shlishis, Iskash, and Nekeva. That for the 3rd sighting of Ziva, the Zav is compared to a Nekeva, to say that we have to be more stringent. But 1 second, but what about the following brayso? Rabbi Eliezer and Bishlish is both Kenoso, Bravias and both Kenoso. Rabbi Eliezer's opinion is that for the 3rd sighting of Ziva, we actually still do these bedikas, we still do these checkings. Only on the 4th Re'iyah are we stringent. So Ella be'esim komiflage, Rabbi Eliezer darish esim, Rabban l'darshi esim. It's a machlokas between the rabbis and Rabbi Eliezer about how to, right, do you darshan the word es or not? When it says vazov es zovo, does that count as 2 or does that count as 3? The Tanna Kama says it counts as 2, and therefore by already the 3rd one it's compared right lanakeva. Whereas Rabbi Eliezer says hazov es zovo is 3, which means only by the next one, by the 4th one, it's compared to a nekeva. Okay, fine. Onso v'sveiko. So it says the Gemara, Amar Rav lo tema safek chazo safek lo chazo, elevade chazo safek machmas shich vazer safek machmas re'iyah. So when it comes, right, so we said that if he sees shich vazera, if he sees semen, so then once he's ready, he's a zav. So then if we're not sure, so then he remains Tami. We assume that it's Ziva. So Amarava says, Rava lo tema safek chazo safek lo chazo. So it says, Rava, the safek isn't, he's not sure if he saw anything or not. Elavadai chazo. No, certainly he saw shich vazer, he saw semen. Safek machmas shich vazer, safek machmas re'iyah. We just don't know, was it actually shich vazer or was it Ziva? So Kevin Shinizkak Lutumas Feko Tame. And once already he's Azav, once already he's Tame, so then we maintain that if we're not sure if it's Shich Vazer or Ziva, we have to be stringent since he's already Azav and assume that it is Ziva. Shich Vazer or Tmeya Lemai. So says the Gemara, when we say that the Shich Vazer is Tomei, what does that mean? Well, if it means that the Shich Vazer is Tomei, that if you touch it, so then you'll become Tomei. But all Shich Vazer, any semen, if you touch it, you become Tomei. So Ella Zaro Shel Zov Mitame B'masa B'masa. No, so rather what it's saying is that the Shich Vazer of a Zov is Mitame not just B'maga, not just if you touch it, but Oichet B'masa if you carry it. Who's the opinion? Which Tana says that the Shich Vazer of Azav is Mitame B'masa? If you say it's like Rabbi Yoshua in the following brayso. The Tanya is within the brayso. Rabbi Eliezer says Rabbi Eliezer Shich Vazer of Eino Mitame B'masa. That Rabbi Eliezer says that the Shich Vazer of Azav is not Mitame B'masa, but Rabbi Yoshua Omer Mitame B'masa. But Rabbi Yeshua says that the Shich Vazer of Azav is Mitame B'masa, because Memele, the Shich Vazer of Azav is going to have a shtickle Ziva in it, and therefore it's Mitame B'masa, like Ziva is. Afilu Rabbi Yoshua lo Omar, elim shum tzictzuche Ziva, aval be'eni lo Omar. But the Gemara says, but still, even Rabbi Yoshua is specifically saying that the concern is about that in the Shich Vazer there might be Ziva, and therefore we have to assume it's Mitame B'masa. But what if it's pure? What if it's pure Shich Vazer? Rabbi Yeshua might not say that it's Mitame B'masa. Rather says Ravada Bar Hava, no, what it means is not that the Shich Vazera is Mitame B'masa. No, it's Fakert. It means that if he saw Shich Vazera and then saw Ziva afterwards, so generally, if you saw Shich Vazera and then afterwards Ziva, it wouldn't be Ziva. But in this case, we're saying that even if he saw Shich Vazera first and then he sees Ziva, it's going to be a problem. Sover of Pape Kamidrava Lemeimar, and Rav Pape tried to explain in front of Rava that how come in general when you see Shich Vazera and then you see Ziva, it's not considered Ziva, it won't make you a Zav. Adi Chulsha Hu Dechazi, because he's only seeing the Ziva because he was weakened from the semen. but it's not actual ziva. Rava says to our papa, but that can't be the case. We learn in a Mishnah that a ger, a convert who converts to Judaism, can immediately become a zav. Now, right? Now, if we're saying that if a fellow sees shichva zera and then sees ziva, he wouldn't make him a zav because it's considered that he only saw the ziva because of the he was weak because of seeing shichva zera first. But that can't be the case because we know that a ger could immediately become a zav, and the fact that he was previously in a state where he was not a yid, certainly that would be a very weak state. And if we're saying it's because of being in a prior weak state, it's not actually considered ziva. Well, then the ger should be considered having been in a weak state, and therefore it shouldn't be considered ziva. But that's clearly not the case because he can immediately become a zav. Tanoi, rather. Look, there are other Tanoim Mutaka say, even if it's not Rabbi Eliezer or Rabbi Yehoshua, there are other Tanoim that we're going to see in a second who say that the Shichva Zera of a Zav is Mitame B'masa. The Tanya is within the Bais of Shichva Zera Shel Zav Mitame B'masa Kol Me'es Le'es. Rabbi Yossi Omer Yomo. That the Tanakama says that the Shichva Zera of a Zav is Mitame B'masa for 24 hours, whereas Rabbi Yossi says only until the end of the day. Only until the end of the day. B'mai Kamifligei. What are they arguing about? B'dishmuel, they're arguing about Shmuel, the Shmuel Rami, that Shmuel asks, that one pasuk says that if a fellow will be tameh with keri mikre laila, which implies until the evening. And then, but another Yuchatz B'mayin, it says towards the evening he'll go to the mikvah. Now, lifnos already means towards, so how come it says erev? That implies not towards this evening, but towards the next evening. Manda Omer me'es le'es daik mi lifnos erev. According to Manda Omer, who says that it's 24 hours, he learns it from lifnos erev, that it's not till this evening, but to the next evening. Vidach diek mikre laila. Whereas the Tanakama learns from mikre laila that it's just that, right? That it's just that evening. That it's just that evening. Oh no, wait, what's it? No, so Rabbi Yossi holds Yomo that it's just that evening. Fine. Now, according to the opinion, he says that lifnos erev means me'es le'es, means 24 hours. But what does he do with mikre laila, which implies only until the evening? Carry the masir b'laila. Look, it only says mikre laila because that's generally when you see carry is during the night. But it's not to say that he's only tummy until the evening, that the tumah is only until the evening, but that it's nonetheless 24 hours. Okay, now to wrap up Masechta Nazir. Says the Mishnah, Nazir hoya Shmuel. Shmuel from Sefer Shmuel in the Tanakh. Shmuel was a Nazir. Kedivrei Rabbi Norai, like Rabbi Norai says, Shenemar, as the pasuk says, Umora lo yala arosho, that the pasuk says by Shmuel Umora, he won't have a mora on his head. Nemar b'shimshin umora, unem v'nemar b'shmuel umora, that it says mora by Shimshin and it says mora by Shmuel. Ma mora amur b'shimshin nazir, af mora amura b'shmuel nazir. That just like by Shimshin when it says mora, it's referring to a razor. That Shimshin wouldn't have a razor on his head; it will be a nazir. So also by Shmuel when it says mora le'arosho, so then it means that he will be a nazir as well. Rabbi Yossi says to Rabbi Norai, "V'alo ein mora elo shabasu badam." But it says Rabbi Yossi, mora means fear of flesh and blood, meaning that Shmuel would be fearless; he would not fear any individual. So Amar lo Rabbi Norai. So Rabbi Norai says back to Rabbi Yossi, "V'alo kvarnema v'yomer Shmuel elech v'shama shol v'aragani." But what do you mean? It says state in pasuk. It says in the pasuk that Shmuel says, "How can I go to anoint David if Shaul hears, he'll kill me?" So clearly Shmuel did have fear of basar v'dam. He was scared of Shaul. So and clearly it doesn't mean a more loyala rosh. It doesn't mean that he won't be scared of anybody. It means that he won't cut his hair. It'll be a nazir. Says the Gemara, Amle Rav L'chi Abrei. So now this is an unrelated discussion, but seemingly the Gemara is bringing it because it mentions also a discussion with Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Norai. In the Gemara they're agreeing, even though in the Mishnah they're disagreeing. But an unrelated discussion. Amle Rav L'chi Abrei. Rav said to his son Chia, Chatoy fuvrich if you have the opportunity, be the one to bless. Meaning the way that they used to, let's say like bench or something, right? Let's say the way they would bench is not that everybody at the table would bench on their own, but one person would lead the benching and everybody else would listen and just answer Amen after the brachas. So says Rav to Sanchia, try to be the one to be the leader, not to be the one to say Amen. If you have the opportunity, be the one to lead the benching, not the one to simply answer Amen. And similarly, Rav Huna says to his son Rabba, also, if you have the opportunity, be the one to lead the benching rather than to simply answer Amen. So does this imply that it's better to be the blesser as opposed to the Amener? So Tanya, but we learn in the Brayso, Rabbi Yossi Omer says, Rabbi Yossi, God will own the Amen, Yosem and Amavarich says Rabbi Yossi, that it's fakert, it's taka better to be the one to answer Amen, not to be the one to be making the blessing. V'omle, Rabbi Noraya Shamayim Kachu, and Rabbi Noraya agrees with Rabbi Yehuda, with Rabbi Yossi. He says, you're taka right. Hateda, you should know, Sharei Golayrim is Garin Bamilchoma, V'giborim Notzchin. That you have kind of, you see it now in certain parts of the world. There's a strategy where they send convicts and prisoners as what's it called, as cannon fodder first, and then they can kind of set up the strategy for how the professional soldiers are going to then attack. So here as well. So you have kind of the not such great soldiers fighting the war. And then come the big strong warriors, and they kind of declare the victory and come in at the end. So we see here as well. You have the guy doing the difficult work of leading the benching. And then you have the people simply coming in and saying Amen, and it says God will own Amen Yosem Minamavarich, that the fellow who says Amen is taka, it's a better position to be in than the one making the bracha. Tanoi, to which the Gemara says, no, it's taka machlokas Tanoim about which one is better. Tani, because we have a brisa echad amavarich ve'echad ona Amen b'mashma l'shem marin l'mavarich tchila. That look, it's good to be both the blesser and the one to say Amen, but better to be the one to actually make the bracha. So it's a machlokas Tanoim, and Rav and Rav Huna were saying like this brisa that says that it's better to be the blesser. Amr Rabbi Lazar, Amr Rabbi Chanina, says Rabbi Lazar in the name of Rabbi Chanina, Talmidei Chacham Shalom Ba'olam, that Torah scholars bring peace to the world. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, V'chobanayich l'midei Hashem, that all of your children are students of the Eibishter. V'av shalom banayich, and there's lots of peace among your children. Hachon olach hanochrim ein lehem naziris v'slika lo Masechta Nazir. Wow. Well, that was Daf Samach Vav, Daf 66 of Masechta Nazir, and that was also the entire Masechta Nazir. Wow, friends, that was hard stuff. That was hard stuff. Masechta Nazir. Look, we just did Nedarim and Nazir. That's like 5 months without Rashi. It's crazy going back. I already started learning Masechta Sota. I was wondering what it would be like to have Rashi back. I've been looking forward so much to having Rashi back. I was wondering, would it be overrated or whatever? Was the expectation greater than I anticipated? It's not. No, Rashi is gewaldig. But Al Kaponim, we haven't started yet Masechta Sota. We'll start that tomorrow. In the meantime, Masechta Nazir. Yeah, very interesting. I mean, Masechta Nedarim and Masechta Nazir were kind of all on the concepts of making Nedarim, which was our first real deep dive into that. Interesting stuff. We had a lot of very short pages in the last 5 months. I don't think that's going to be the case anymore. I think we're going to get to some longer dafs again. Hakopanim friends, thanks for being along on this the Nazir journey, on the 66-day Nazir experience, and okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Peace out, bye.